Making a video like this is not easy. It's not easy to say something that offends most. It lands me in a perception of being a toxic misogynist. But I have to tell the truth because it saved my experience. I was a man who deeply craved a marriage with a beautiful, amazing woman who was feminine, loving, in a state of surrender. And to have that experience. And I finally got it. And I almost f***ed it up because I didn't want to be offensive and misogynistic. And this is what this video is about. Is that I learned that when you're with a real feminine woman, you have to step up and be a man. And us in the West, I grew up going to a very liberal private high school in New York City. I went to an Ivy League college. That both taught me that being a man is wrong, that being masculine is wrong, that it's something that's antiquated and not in the way things are going. It's against the whole liberal movement, right? But the whole liberal movement in America, I'm not conservative either. I think both sides are the same bird. Topic for a different moment. But the whole left propaganda of America is the whole thing is a reflection of teaching women and men that men leading is incorrect, right? The patriarchy. Again, different topic for different episode. But the whole premise is that a man leading, a man being strong, is what's causing all the mayhem in the world we're living in. And furthermore, a woman being told to be feminine is what's creating this horrible, disgusting, offensive, oppressive world we live in. That's what the liberal agenda teaches, is that men can't be men, and men being men is what's causing all the issues in the world, okay? That's what they actually believe in. Take most liberal women, and they hate men. The whole bear a man in the woods argument, which most women on the left believe, that would you rather be left with a random man or a bear alone in the woods? Most women would choose a bear. Now, that's our fault as men, because we created the situation. But that just reveals that women are convinced that the average man is a murderous, terrible person who will kill them. Okay? Now, there's truth to that, because there are a lot of men that don't know how to handle darkness, don't know how to handle their darkness, are very abusive and oppressive. Domestic violence is a very real thing. It's terrible. I'm not for that at all. I think men should be in control of their anger and control of their emotions. But most women believe that men being men is what's causing all the issues in the world. I grew up believing that. So when you grow up believing that as a man, what do? You begin to erase and hide your masculinity in favor of being nice and agreeable. Men being nice and agreeable is the demise of our society. Because when men are nice and agreeable, we can't actually be men. If we can't be men, we can't lead women. If we can't lead women, what happens? Okay, and this is where we are now. All right, so in my own marriage, I got married to my dream woman. And for the first 3-4 months, we were always arguing, butting heads. She wasn't happy. She got to a point where she told me, if we keep arguing like this in a couple years or months, I don't know if I can do this. This is my dream woman telling me this. And I thought to myself, I'm doing everything right. I'm being nice, agreeable. I'm therapized. I've had female therapists. I know how to unpack your trauma. I know how to be there for you and support you. Why is this happening? I sat there being like, I don't want to lose this woman. She's everything I've ever wanted. I don't want to lose her. And then it hit me. Why don't you try being a man? Why don't you try being a man? And I didn't know what that really meant, being a man. And that led to a deep investigation and awakening in myself and discovering what my nature is. My essence is a man. If you're a man watching this, your essence is a man. That's your God-given truth. I believe that men and women, their essence is their soul and their gender, their masculinity, their femininity. That's their essence. And the whole belief that we can change that thing to be more feminine or to be a different version, I think it's the core of inversion. You're a man. I'm a man. I'm supposed to be masculine. If you're a woman, you're supposed to be feminine. That's our essence. That's our nature. You can go against that, but then we live in this chaotic mess we live in that every person in their body feels lost and confused. You don't feel like yourself. I only really started feeling like myself when I understood my essence as a man. I started being stronger. That's when I felt like myself. So I thought, let me give this a try. Let me try being a man. And I've studied this for a long time, so I know what being a man is. I've studied psychology, relationships, polarity. I know this stuff deep down, so I have to sharpen my tools a little bit and discuss this with my mentors. But what I realize is that women inherently want the experience of being emotional. of being reactive, of that's the experience they want. They want to be as emotionally as possible and to have a man strong next to them, riding the waves with his foot on the ground, being grounded. Women want a grounded man to bounce their emotions off of. That's what they want. What they don't want is what I did, which is they're being emotional, and I go and analyze them, being like, my westernized psychoanalytic brain being like, you're reacting emotionally because your father did this to you, mother did this to you, and da 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 da. There's truth to that. But the minute I, as a man, become her therapist and begin analyzing her emotions to her face, am I a man? Because deep down I'm signaling, I don't want to handle your emotions. I don't want to ground your emotional state. I am reactive to your reactivity. If you're angry, I'll get more angry. What does that do? She doesn't feel safe. Okay? Female safety is the core of a healthy relationship. And thing is, women think that women think that men have to be this nice, agreeable, kind person to create safety, when it's actually the opposite. Don't be a monster. I don't mean don't be abusive. Not at all. Don't do that. But you have to be strong. A strong man creates safety in her heart. What does that mean? If she's pissed, if she's angry irrationally, you don't fight her. You don't analyze her. You're not nice or kind to her. You stand there firm and let her express herself with an open heart. You watch her expression and you love it. You look at all expressions of her and you love it. Doesn't mean you coddle her. Doesn't mean that you give in to her emotions. That mean you don't want to fix her. The minute a man wants to fix his woman and change her emotional state, she loses respect for you, because in her mind, she thinks, is he not man enough to handle my emotions? Is he not man enough to handle when I'm acting irrationally? Because women want that freedom. Deep down, women want, when they're on their point in their cycle, when they're super luteal, they want to be crunchy. They want to be a bit annoyed and pissed off, and they want to know that you're not going to get reactive, because that's strength. Do you think a real strong man argues with his woman when she's luteal? When a woman's about to get her period and she's annoyed and easily angry, you think a strong man argues with her? Starts analyzing her emotions? I was doing that shit. I was analyzing her, saying, I'm not, it's not healthy to be angry. It's not healthy to be emotional. We got to be calm here. That was being a bitch. I wasn't being a man. A real man faces her emotions with strength. When she's angry, you face it with strength. You face it with love. You face it with courage. Because if you're not man enough to handle her emotions, how are you going to be man enough to handle the world? She is a test for you, for your strength. So women want the experience of being hyper emotional and you loving them still. That's the greatest gift you can give them. But what I thought is that, okay, if men and women are equal, that means we're equally rational amidst hyper emotional states. So if she's irrationally angry, she cannot do that because we're equal. She cannot get irrationally angry because that's not fair. That flips the polarity. What kind of masculine behavior is that? Would a real strong man see a woman whose emotional needs aren't being met and think, she can't do that, that's not rational? No, he faces them. He looks at her with strength and love and thinks, I'm going to transmute this pain. I'm going to stand here and hold space. That's a strong man. Another point here is that women want to be in a state of surrender. Why that is beyond my pay grade. But they want to be in a state of surrender. If you don't want to believe me, why are BDSM, dark, erotic, romance fantasy novels so popular? Even to women who follow the liberal agenda. Women who follow the liberal agenda are reading 50 Shades of Grey. They're reading this whole erotica novel fantasies where men are being dominant and women are being submissive, because they only can agree to go there in fantasy because their egos can't handle the truth that they want to be submissive. They want a dominant man. They don't want to admit that because it goes against the whole indoctrination, but they want a dominant man. So they want to be in submission, but not submission and being a slave, being in surrender. Trusting your strength so deeply they can fall into your arms. Right? So how does a man create this? Since the whole liberal agenda teaches men that it's toxic to lead, when a woman wants leadership, men shut down. That's not men's fault. It's because they're indoctrinated. But Start leading. Stop buying the bullshit. When your woman says, do I eat this or that? I used to think, ooh, if I lead her, I'm toxic. If I order for her, I'm toxic. If I tell her what to do, I'm a misogynist. That shit. If she says, I don't know, should I have chicken or steak? Eat the steak, baby. I'm sure it's amazing. Should I wear this white or blue dress? Wear the blue dress, baby. I'm sure it's great. I have my shoulder hurts. Here's a doctor. Go here at 4 p.m. They want that. Start doing it, and you'll see how much more women respect you. Once you see that the more masculine you are, the more strong you are, the more of a leader you are, the more female respect you get, you start seeing that this is the way. Like, you've been taught a lie. I was taught a lie. I was taught to erase my strength. I was taught to erase my masculinity. That's against our God-given nature. My God intended me to be a strong man, to be a king, and all of you too. And God intended a woman to be a queen and to step into feminine strength. A strong feminine woman is a badass. She has access to intuition and wisdom that we never will be. She can see things that we can never see. Right? And woman unconsciously shit tests you because she wants you to step into your power. All women, when they start seeing a man, they see his full potential and see his full power. And they want you to access that. And you being in that full power means you have your power, you have your center, you're a real strong man. They want that. And they're showing you how. They can literally see the most dominant, strong version of you, and they give you hints on how to get there. If you listen, you actually become that. Just by listening to the reflections of my wife, I've grown into this man. I'm not perfect. I f up still. If I had a long day and she's getting irrationally angry, sometimes I slip. But I always look at myself and say, that was weak. That was weak. You really can't handle her emotions? You really can't handle when she's upset? You want to argue with her? Furthermore, neediness. Neediness signals that you are not masculine. Like, whether you want to believe this or not, men don't actually need women. We don't. That may be a lot to hear. I will choose women all day. I'd love having a wife. Think about it. We don't need women. We have the physical strength to protect ourselves. We can band together and survive. We don't actually need women. Right? Women need us. They think they don't. There's this whole argument, well, we don't need men. Who's going to build all the buildings? Who's going to do all the electricity? Who's going to carry all these heavy things? Women need men. They need us. They need us to ground them. They need us to protect them. That's a beautiful thing. We don't actually need them. We only need them like mommy needs like a son needs mommy. A man only needs a woman when he needs mommy. A woman needs a man because she requires protection. She requires emotional and physical protection. She does. She wants that. She needs that. Men don't actually need women unless it's mommy. So when you signal to her, I need you right now, I'm so emotional and anxious without you, you're signaling to her you're still a boy. You're showing her you're still a boy. So whenever you feel like you need validation from your wife, you need validation from your girlfriend, you need validation from a woman, that's a little boy in you that needed mommy. And I'm not saying to kill that party, I'm saying to face it yourself, to have a relationship with a little boy in you, to face him with love, and to take care of him, because then you're actually a man. So there's a couple of things here that destroy your connection to your masculine power. The first is what I said is this fear of being a man that we've been taught and indoctrinated to believe by the Matrix, call it, that being a man is toxic, leading is toxic, not arguing with your woman is sexist. That has to be thrown out the window first. But then we get into like what actually makes you go into neediness and fear. And that's undealt with trauma from your childhood. If you haven't dealt with the loneliness and grief of you as a little kid and a boy, that energy will carry into your adulthood. Like, there are moments when my wife is crunchy, she's luteal, she's emotional, and I feel I need her love and validation so badly, I breathe into that, I check that myself. That's my trauma. The minute I bring that to her, she can't handle that. Her emotional system is not designed to handle my neediness. And this goes further into male obsession with lust. If you need to f your wife constantly, you need her sexual validation, the f is that? Like, it's a very big difference between sacred energy exchange and a loving connection. And sure, you can have wild sex and, all kinds of places. I'm not denying the power of that. But if she feels like you need her sexual validation, or else you're going to go cry and complain for a week, that's not masculine. Like, if a woman feels like, if I don't have sex with him today, he's going to get all emotional and take it personal and get upset, what the is that? I'm going to repeat this point because it's important. If a woman feels like your whole ego and self-worth will collapse if she doesn't have sex with you, that you need sex constantly, she will not see you as a man or a king. She'll see you as a boy who needs mommy. That sounds all Oedipal and Freudian, but I'm telling you it's the truth. Because she knows deep down, without my sexual validation, he won't feel his power. So you're using her to fill up your own cup of power. Fill your center first, fill your power first, feel your confidence and radiance as a man, and then let her sexual energy build up. That's one big part here too, is that you want to activate her sexual desire. You don't want to run after her and chase it. That's one of the core tenets of polarity here, is that you want to be so masculine, so strong, so present, so locked in, that her eroticism comes alive naturally and she starts pouncing on you. That's what actually women crave, is that she's feeling so alive for you. The minute you grab her or do something, she's alive. But most men get so horny and lustful and so needy that the minute they're horny, they go chasing after her, like, please have sex with me, please. That's the least sexy thing you could possibly do. You want to activate her eroticism in a way where she pounces you, okay? So there's many different codes here I can say, but at a baseline, if you're afraid of losing her, if you're needy, if you're afraid of leading, if you keep arguing with her, if you keep thinking she should be rational and not be angry, you're okay? Women also know that they can capitalize on emotion to manipulate men. So if you tell her no on something, she will react in a way to do something to change her mind. For instance, if she says, I want to buy this handbag, and you say, no, baby, not today. She will then, if not trained well, will create a dynamic where she gets pouty and sad, but I want it, please. And you're like, okay, baby, no problem. You lost. Women know they're emotional, manipulative creatures. They know they can capitalize on emotion to manipulate men and capitalize on sex to manipulate men. So if she thinks, I can withhold sex, be angry and annoying, and I know he'll give me what I want, how can she respect you? So when you firmly feel like something's no, stick to it. She'll get pouty, she'll react negatively, stop. Let her, because you have to stay strong in yourself, okay? You lead. I bounced a bit around everywhere here, but I want to close with this. Everything I'm saying now, I would have seen a couple years ago and think this guy is the most toxic dude ever. But then you marry a beautiful woman and you see that this shit's real. That God intended us to be man and woman. That God intended you to be masculine. And that when you actually live by these tenets, you live by your masculine strength, you start experiencing a life you never lived before. You feel your strength. Your woman loves you. Your woman jumps her bones. All men want that. All men deep down want an experience of dating a beautiful woman where she loves them and jumps her bones, and they get respect from other men. Men want that, but we've been taught that everything we think we should do to be like that is toxic and wrong, but it's not. There's a piece in you. There's a bit in you. There's a wolf, a beast in you that wants to dominate, that wants to be strong and be masculine. Honor it. Follow that and you'll find your power. Like, ignore the other bullshit, ignore what women think, follow your strength, follow your beast in you, and watch what happens. Watch it. Now, an important caveat to add here is that men do have anger issues. Men do have toxic shame. Men are deeply traumatized, and you can't bypass that shit, right? Part of being a strong man is being emotionally non-reactive. You have trauma, you have rage, you have shame, that's yours to face. Only strong men face that and transmute them in themselves and don't leak it to their wife. Nice guys leak it to their wife. Nice guys get needy and leak that work to their wife. Strong men don't. Strong men face their trauma. Strong men face their pain. Strong men face their grief and heal it. Because if we don't, our women do it for us and they don't want to. They can't handle that shit. They're not emotionally wired to fix our trauma for us. It destroys them. We have to heal it. We can't make our woman heal us anymore. We have to heal that shit, and that's strength. Okay? If you like this video, let me know. Give me a subscription, like it, and start being a man. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to watch more content, please click this video right here and don't forget to subscribe right here. Thank you.